Hello everybody and welcome to this playthrough for the back 9, hole 10 to hole 18 of the Pebble Beach in the Redzone Rivals 18-hole cup. In this video you will see me play with free-to-play balls, but obviously in our premium guide you can find alternatives for free-to-play and paid balls, so both options as per usual. What you need to have in mind with this playthrough as well is that these are general wins that you're getting. These are not wins that we will have in the tournament. To get access to the content we do for the tournament wins, you sign up to our Ultimate Tournament text guides via the Master Max package on Patreon, or you use the Cup package, which is for 18-hole cups and 9-hole cups, or you can do a one-time purchase by buying access to the latest post to give you access to the tournament link. So many different ways of going about it, but we do create the best guides on the market for free-to-play ball alternatives and payball alternatives for all the tournaments. We have the info box on the right hand side for the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind though that they are all suggestions and you don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. Last but not least, if you do enjoy the video here, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. Now let's go to hole number 10. Hello everybody and welcome to hole number 10 of the Pebble Beach. This is a par 4 and we are going to push the ball as far down the fairway possible. The further down we get, obviously the closer to the green we will get, and also have a wedge or either a short iron. Regardless of type of wind direction you have, in my opinion, you will be ending up somewhere around the max short iron as worst. Now, I'm pushing really hard here to show you how far you can actually get, even though you have a slight headwind, playing with a P6 NMT. Then I'll swap into a power 10 ball, such as the Luminary in this instance. Adjusting, I do max plus a 10, and from here we are going to have a wedge. The wedge here is a little bit finicky. It's a long wedge. Very important that you are correct with how you judge the slider. This was a wedge that was outside max distance. So here, even though the regular EB school is plus 20, you're going to have to adjust more because, I mean, we weren't even with max club at the pin. And that kind of leaves me thinking, okay, so either I'm gonna have to make sure that I'm in a reasonable wedge range, or I'm going to have to pitch the ball a little bit shorter to allow myself to play with a short iron instead. Because for me, playing a 100 to 150% wedge, that's really difficult, and it also requires a lot of rings. And it is very easy, especially when the rings are so small on the wedge clubs, that you are doing that incorrectly. So it's kind of either or what you kind of prefer. Parts of me would like to say, okay, let's push it even harder and get to a shorter wedge. Some of me thinking, okay, let's play a bit simpler drive and get myself to short iron and go from there. So a lot of ifs, a lot of buts. Hello everybody and welcome to hole number 11 of the Pebble Beach, and here I'm starting with a power 0 ball in NMT. A lot of NMTs, but I really do like that. Power 0 ball NMT, setting all the top spin and 3 right spin, adjust. I'm using minus 5% elevation here, so max minus 5%. And the reason I'm using minus 5% is because I do judge this one to be slightly uphill. Here I'm using a little bit of curl, not much, half a ball. You know, you could argue to use a little bit more, to be honest, because this fairway slopes, as you can see there from the camera angle, it slopes a little bit right to left, and we obviously don't want to get into the rough there on the left-hand side. My intention here is to get a controlled way up to short iron. Sure, if you do have a tailwind, you can most definitely push the drive further and get yourself to the green or close to the green. But now we are in a situation where we are going to attack the pin with a short iron. And you can see that we are very close to the min line as well. I like the fact to go directly on the green to get at the pin. Green, especially with flat greens like this, where there are no bumps and stuff like that, then I do feel that that's generally very consistent for us to get the outcome that we're looking for. Minus 5% is what I'm judging the elevation to be, but as always on the second shots, don't be afraid to change the elevation to suit the outcome that you are looking for. Now, obviously, if you do push the drive even longer, you will have a wedge, but I feel like this is a scenario where we do have a decision to make, as on the other short par fours. Is like, okay, if we can get to a short wedge, that's good. But if we have a choice between playing a short iron from kind of min distance or a wedge from very much to max distance, I would prefer a short iron from min distance all the time. Number 12, a par 3 of Pebble Beach, and we are here going to bounce over the rough and the sand in tailwind. I would say if we do have a crosswind or a headwind, I most definitely think that the rough before the green is a very viable option. Sure, you can still bounce over it with that type of winds too, but using the rough bumper that is above the bunker and the rough, that will mean that the wind will affect the ball less after the first bounce compared to a shot that we're doing here now. Adjust max plus 10 with our sniper. Unfortunately, I pull a little bit off center and having a little bit too much 12-1, which is the reasoning to me missing so much on the right hand side. Or not really so much, but a decent amount on the right hand side. But at least you understand the idea that we are attacking the pin by bouncing over in the tailwind. The reason we are doing this in the tailwind is because using a free-to-play ball such as the Kingslayer will mean that we are going to go in between clubs if doing the sand bump or the rough bump. So therefore, you're going to have to choose a ball with more wind resistance combined with less power to be able to get us to attack the pin with the rough bump or the sand bump. So I do feel like here is one of the few holes where I truly feel like a paid ball would create a much bigger advantage than using free to play. But that's kind of one of the, it's not many holes that I actually feel that way. But this par 3, I definitely feel that way. Hello everybody, and welcome to hole number 13 of the Pebble Beach. We are starting here with a power 2 ball to find a max line, using the bullseye by the rough here, using all the top spin and half a bar of right spin. Then I'm looking to use a power 10 ball, and the reason I'm using a power 10 ball is because I do want to slow down the needle as much as possible whilst going max overpower. Adjust max plus a 10, so I'm using this one to be 10, or like I'm looking at this one to be 10% elevation. A single grate left, but you can see as well that the intention here is to somewhat stay on this very big fairway and roll as far down possible. And you can probably imagine here now, let's say that we would be having a tailwind, we would be easily by the green or on the green, even by using much less topspin. But when we do have a headwind, we are most definitely going to have to put on our big boy pants and use as much topspin as we can to to make sure that we give ourselves a good chance. Now, this wedge, I'm kind of happy that we do get to see that. This is a very glitchy wedge. You can see that even though we have a flat green, the ball guideline is flickering back and forth. My recommendation with these type of wedges always to always look and set your aim point based off the short bounce, because if you're setting the aim point based off the long rollout, and if you then get the glitch roll or the glitch spot, that means that the ball will not reach to the hole. When favoring doing the dead bounce, what happens then is that if you do get the glitch roll, you will then just come in hot. It's not that it's going to be the end of the world, but you will come in a little bit hot, but at least you will reach to the hole. Now, again, like on every single par 4, or at least most of the par 4s of the Pebble Beach, we always are somewhat forced to get into a situation where either we favor to go with a long distance wedge or we do lay up for a short iron. That's going to happen with a headwind component. When it comes to crosswind and tailwind, in my opinion, we are always going to go for green. But in headwind, you need to really think about it and really look to yourself, what type of player are you? There is nothing wrong lay up for a short iron where Some people would prefer a longer wedge. Take your game to the next level with our ultimate tournament text guides for Master Division for the Redzone Rivals 18-hole Cup. We are creating content for the qualifying round and for the final round for this 18-hole Cup and the beautiful Pebble Beach. Go to our platform, patreon.com/golfclashtommy, by using the link in the description down below or scanning the QR code. There you can find our packages. We are including the 18-hole cups in our max package, so Master Max. Or if you want to just have the cups, then you can go directly to our cup package. Last but not least, if you do want to just buy for a one-off tournament, you can do so as well by purchasing the latest post on Patreon. So many different ways for you to improve and enjoy your tournament game a little bit more with the 18-hole Cup. When it comes to the content that we are providing, it's free-to-play options together with paintball options on every hole, and we are trying to do our best to give you a chance for drops when it comes to all the par 3s, par 4s, and the par 5s. Hello everybody, and welcome to hole number 14 of the Pebble Beach, and this is a tricky par 5. I would say this is a par 5 that I probably would fancy playing a paintball on to give myself a little bit easier on the approach. But the drive, no problems whatsoever, starting at P6 max rest, using topspin and also right spin. The reason I'm not using max topspin is because the problematic thing here is that we are going kind of like 90 degrees right. So if you have too much topspin, then you will most definitely risk rolling into the rough there on the left hand side. You can see how close we're getting, and I'm even using 4 right spin and not max topspin combined with full amount of curl. You can also see that on the drive there, the fairway kind of slopes right to left, which obviously does not help. Now from here, we're still going to have a sniper though. You can go for a rough bump, but we kind of have to have a better wind, like in terms of having like a more flat crosswind or a little bit of tailwind for that kind of to be possible, or we're going to have to use a club with more power. It's kind of either or there in my opinion. Now, for the sake of giving you some sort of example here, then I'm doing a double bounce here, which is like I'm bouncing on the fairway up into the rough to roll down onto the green. Not really the most ultimate way, I would say here. You can go on the right side of the fairway, use left spin if you would so like, or going for the rough bump. I personally feel that the rough bump is going to be the best chance for a drop here. Unfortunately, I was never in the position in the practice mode to give that one a go. Therefore, I wanted to show you some type of alternative to that if you find yourself in the same spot as me. Not really. To hole number 15 of the Pebble Beach, and this is another short par 4. Here we are most definitely going to go for green. Even though you would be having a headwind, there is most definitely a chance to get very close to green by just using max topspin and no topspin boost. But this is a particular hole where if you do have a headwind, using topspin boost is definitely giving you a good chance to get this ball to green. You can see that I'm not adjusting that far and can play this hole or play this shot with a slow needle and can utilize that type of technique. And then we are bouncing on the fairway and over the rough and the sand, and then want obviously the ball to roll as far as possible. Now, I would personally be happy with this type of situation because of the rough and the sand kind of points out into the fairway. If we're looking at it on the right side, I do feel it's going to be very difficult to attack the pin for a hole in one if it's not that we're having some sort of a tailwind off tee. Then we can obviously kind of like ping it a little bit differently, so to speak. Playing 10% elevation on the drive, so max plus 10 was my adjustment. And now, just for the display here, doing the wedge. And you can see here that this wedge is a little bit special in the sense of that we are using a longer ball guideline on our wedge. Usually we have a shorter ball guideline. Whenever we do have a longer ball guideline, I like to play the EB a little bit differently in terms of the normal EB school. I play 15% elevation here, but it's kind of in the end up to you. we make the adjustment, and then we will hit perfect and give ourselves a very good look at getting an eagle. I would say this is most definitely a par 4 on the back 9 where you kind of have to end up with an eagle, otherwise it will be a bit problematic for you. You can see that I missed that one there just over the left side of the cup. That will definitely not be something that I'm looking to do when I play for real in the tournament. But hole number 15, most definitely an interesting par 4. Short par 4 offers different ways of playing the hole, of course, but especially, like I said so many times now, it's short as most of the. Hello everybody and welcome to hole number 16, the last of the par 4s of the Pebble Beach. And here we want tailwind. We desperately want tailwind because with tailwind I have no doubt that we will see some par 4 hole-in-ones here. Now, this was, I think this was my second practice attempt with a little circ here using the tailwind, making the adjustment. Max plus 10 is what I've judged the adjustment to be, or at least what I'm looking for. Once we've done that, we are also then going to set the spins. With this type of tailwind, I'm going 2 back, 1 right, which in hindsight is a little bit too much. But now, in the end though, if we would be having this type of wind in a, pure tournament situation that is not practice, we would obviously be, excuse me, having that dialed in a little bit more. Some right curl and a little nasty great right. The great right here is not the end of the world. It clips the rough to roll up on the fairway, and from there we do have a very short wedge to pin. I obviously don't want to hit the rough if I'm looking to go for the hole-in-one, so therefore using a little bit less backspin would definitely be something that is recommended in this type of wind angle. What do you do if you do have a crosswind or you do have a headwind? Then you're going to have to lay up. And then you're going to have to lay up as far down the fairway possible to then attack the pin for a short iron. Still a very makeable eagle to get, but of course we do like ascend it. Every time there's a chance for a par 4 hole-in-one on a short par 4, we're most definitely looking for the tailwind so we can send it and have some fun. Hello everybody and welcome to hole number 17 of the Pebble Beach, the last par 3, and we are here going to go a fairly aggressive line, I would say, my friends. I'm going for the rough bump above the bunker. Now, it looks like it's a very thin rough that we're playing into, but the nature of the rough slash bunker here is that it actually has quite a bit of room. But my intention with this type of play is to use the bank on the right hand side to roll the ball up to then let it fall back down. That's what I felt when I was playing this hole, the very few practices that I have, that it gave me an outcome that I was very much looking for. Min, no elevation here with our Thor's hammer, and the reason I'm doing with my Thor's hammer here is the fact that I do have let's put it this way, I do need a lot of backspin. So if you don't have a Thor's hammer, you can always play with the rocket with the same type of principle by using the 4 right spin and then some backspin. Speed is going to be the key if playing this type of play, whereof that you're going to have to use less backspin if you do have crosswind or a headwind compared to when we do have a tailwind here. Now, you can also use a pad that is on the right hand side. That's a bounce up, but as always when it comes to par 3s, when it comes to Master Division, you kind of have to be a little bit aggressive sometimes to give yourself a little edge over those that are just bouncing up with a less probability of a drop. But that doesn't mean that everyone has to play the way that is played here. You can take a conservative route or like a more conservative route if you feel that it's a birdie, and that's what I'm looking for. But I definitely feel this par 3 and the other par 3, hole number 12 on the back 9, is truly 2 finicky par 3s where we are allowed to go a bit aggressive, but we can take the conservative route. But it all depends on what type of player we are and what type of risks we want to allow ourselves to take. Welcome to hole number 18 of the Pebble Beach. Here I'm starting with a power 0 ball in NMT, and I'm setting as much top spin that I can together with 4 left spin. Adjust is going to be max with no elevation. And you can see here now that we, even though it doesn't look like it, it most definitely is a little bit of headwind. Now, you could always consider backing up a little bit to give yourself a much slower needle, or you can do something different. Now, so there are many different ways to get to the desired outcome. My thinking here is to get myself as far down as I can, and then I will have a long iron towards the pin, because the longer shot here is going to be a little bit tricky, especially when we are bouncing on the fairway, because I kind of fancied this type of long iron here. You can see that I'm using a little bit of topspin, a little bit of right spin, aiming at the hole here with my long iron. And I'm choosing to have a position quite far away from the green. Why is that? It's because I experienced the fairway being very bumpy and glitchy the closer to the green I got. So I rather than go before that spot using a more consistent aim point, and then feel that I will be having, in general, a better chance to attack the pin for an albatross. 10% elevation on the second shot, and the ball comes in very close for an albatross, but I definitely believe that people will be enjoying this last hole of the Pebble Beach, this par 5. Be careful with the water, obviously, but as the game makers has made the fairway very wide, I do not feel that there will be any problems for us to get that ball in a position where we can attack for an albatross. Thank you everybody for watching this playthrough for the back 9 of the Pebble Beach in the Redzone Rivals 18-hole cup. If you're looking for the front 9, you can find it here on the channel as well. If you're looking to improve your game, we do have the ultimate tournament text guides for the Pebble Beach ready for you all on patreon.com/golfclashtom. You can scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description down below. Free to play balls and payball alternatives for you to improve your game. Last but not least, I wish you the best of luck in the 18-hole cup.